Hey polish fans, it's Caroline again and welcome to another video here at Wild Moon Lacquer. In today's video I am doing another cluster of hauls. I'm still slowly but surely working my way through the backlog of packages that I have to unbox and haul. For this one, I have pre-unpackaged everything, so I do have some swatches over here that I'll be sharing of each of the polishes. And as you can see, I actually got acetone additive in each and every order that I placed this time. We are doing 3 different collab boxes: Polished Gamers box for the month of April, Smidgen of Us for the month of April, and then Little Box of Horror for March. So we have quite a few polishes to look at. Let's go ahead and dig in. The first polish comes from the Polished Gamers box from Cuticula, and this one is called Betrayed. Now, I don't remember what the theme was for that month, but since it's a gamers box, my guess is it was something to do with a game. But I had to get this one. The colors on this are stunning. Cuticula is another of my favorite brands, so I do try to keep tabs on what they're releasing, and this one really got my attention. I mean, there is every single color of the rainbow in this one, plus those hollow flakes. So this is absolutely dazzling. Had to get that one. Here it is in just 2 coats with a glossy top coat. The opacity on this one is gorgeous in just these 2 coats. I really don't see too many people needing a third for full opacity on this one. And as you can see, the colors are just spectacular. The teal base is a bit green leaning there, as you can see, and then you get all of those rainbows in the flash of that shimmer. Absolutely jaw-dropping. So that first one was Cuticula's Betrayal. Next up is, I think, a new to me brand, even though I have heard of them before. This is Plus Life Lacquers, Know What I Mean, and this one was very eye-catching when I saw it on the website. It was one that I definitely wanted to grab because as a millennial, this definitely reminds me of like the 80s and 90s. And yeah, just very nostalgic feeling. In the color varieties that are in the glitters and flakes, there are blue metallic glitters and then those teal metallic flakes and fuchsia metallic flakes. And yeah, the shapes in here is just really, really fun. It is in a white Crelly base, and as you can see, there is a subtle shimmer as well. And this one was nice and opaque for me in just 2 coats. Beautiful formulation. And yeah, I mean, look how adorable that is on the nail. This is one that I could actually see myself doing as a full mani, but I'll probably end up using it as an accent nail as well. And then maybe pull in the teal and blue and fuchsia that I'm seeing there in those other components. But yeah, that is another one that I'm definitely glad that I grabbed. So that was Plus Life Lacquers Know What I Mean. Next up, I got a Lemming lacquer. This is Crystal Magic, and this one is a squishy purple base jam-packed full of components. As you can see, there are a ton of these large flakes in there. There's glitter, there's shimmer. This has all the sparkles and twinkles. I mean, look at that huge flaky. That is absolutely gigantic. And of course, the color of purple is just beautiful. This one I did do in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. Since it is a squishier formulation, I would say some nail lengths might still see a bit through because it is a squishier base, but it is a beautiful polish. You might just be too distracted by all of the gorgeous flakes and glitter and shimmer to really mind if you are seeing a little bit of nail line, but look at those colors. I'm mostly seeing variations of green, orange, and gold, but I do see blue popping up in there as well. And then, of course, you have that beautiful purple base. So that one was Lemming Lacquers Crystal Magic. And then the last polish that I got for Polished Gamers box was Night Owl Lacquers Loud Librarians. This is actually a month that I went back and got 2 orders, so I forget which 2 were my main orders, but I think it might be these 2. And then I ended up going back and getting the acetone additive and 2 more polishes on my second order. So this one, like I said, is Loud Librarians. And as you can see, this is kind of outside my norm of colors that I get, but I found it really striking in the swatches that I was seeing on the website. It is sort of this grungy, unusual yellow leaning green. There is gold, but there's also blue that you can see popping up there in the different shifts. Like I said, the swatches of this one on the website just looked very interesting and unusual, and I really liked the more grungy tones that I was seeing in certain lights. Now, I will say it will catch that gold in certain lighting situations, but I'm excited to see the darker tones in different lights. And this one was nice and opaque for me in just 2 coats as well. This also has a glossy top coat. And yeah, this one is another that I'm very excited that I did grab. Like I mentioned, it is very much outside my wheelhouse because normally with greens and especially golds, I am rather particular, as you always hear me say if you're a regular on my channel. But yeah, this one just caught my attention and I'm glad I grabbed it because it should be very unique to my collection. And I'm excited to get that one on my nails as well. And again, the formulation on this was very good. Just 2 coats and I reached full opacity. So that one was Night Owl Lacquer's Loud Librarians. And then this is the reason I went back for that second order. One of them, I should say, since I did grab 2 more polishes. But I wanted to grab Ribbit's Stickit's Acetone Additive. It was in the fragrance The Witch Doctor. And I forget what these scent notes are. I don't think their bottles have like the scent notes on them. But acetone additive is something that I use all the time. I use it every single time I change my manis. Oh my. And I think this one was inspired by Dr. Facilier of The Princess and the Frog. And this one has some interesting notes in it. Right off the bat, the first note that I'm getting is a rather masculine, like cologne or aftershave sort of a fragrance. And I want to say there was some sweet notes in there, but right now, mainly that front note that I'm getting is maybe sandalwood or cedar or something along those lines that is that masculine note. So I'm curious how this one is going to play out. But like I said, the fragrance notes really caught my attention. And acetone additive, like I mentioned, is something that I use all the time. Basically, if you're new to acetone additive and you aren't sure what it is, you add this to your pure acetone to help moisturize your nails when you use it to remove your polish. And since I usually end up changing my nails a few times a week, I go through my acetone quite a lot. So I go through my acetone additive a lot as well. So that was the Ribbit Stickit's Acetone Additive in the scent The Witch Doctor. So that was the haul for Polished Gamers box. Now moving on to the smaller order from Smidgen of Us. I only got 1 polish, but I also got some acetone additive. So the only polish that I grabbed is from Wildflower Lacquer, and this is Being Normal is Not Necessarily a Virtue. This was, I think, themed movie nights. Yeah, so this one I think was inspired by the movie Practical Magic, if I'm remembering correctly. And Wildflower is another one of my favorite brands. I know I have a long list of favorite brands, but I always try to keep tabs on what they are releasing. So this is one that I definitely wanted to grab. It is a very interesting polish, combining a lot of different components. You have those iridescent flakes, you've got hollow flakes, and then this base is this rich, like red to orange shifting base, and it is darker. So you can see a bit of those orange and bronze flashing there at the corners. And here's that one in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. And as you can see on the nail, you do get that overall red feel to it, that deep burgundy. And then of course you get a huge scattering of those silver holographic flakes and then the rainbows from those iridescent flakies. Definitely glad I grabbed that one as well. So that was Wildflower Lacquer's Being Normal is Not Necessarily a Virtue. And then the acetone additive that I grabbed is from a new to me brand. This is from Witch Cult, and this one is scented in Snow White. And again, I don't remember the scent notes. I don't think it's listed on this bottle either. And it has been a few months, but I want to say that since it's themed Snow White, it probably has like an apple scent, and there was some, again, scent notes that really caught my attention in the description. So that again was the Witch Cult Acetone Additive in Snow White. So that was my very small order from Smidgen of Us. Next up, we're going to look at my little order from Little Box of Horror for March 2024. I previously filmed my order for Little Box of Horror for April, and that was quite a big order. So this one is small by comparison to just 2 polishes and an acetone additive. The first one is from Lemming Lacquer, and it is Little Wolf to Queen, and it is a magnetic. I was definitely on a magnetic kick for this month of Little Box of Horror. Both polishes that I got are magnetic. Now, this one is another where I was expanding outside my normal range. As you can see, even though there is some darkness around the edges of this bottle, you're mostly seeing a golden, bronzy flash, and that is outside my wheelhouse, but check out how it looks when you magnetize it. All of that gold and bronze pulls up into the magnetic line. You're left with this darkened, almost like raisiny base, and then all of those flakes come out to play. This one definitely caught my eye. It's super unique to my collection. I don't remember if this was one that I thought looked kind of like tiger's eye in the swatch pictures, but there was definitely a magnetic somewhere along the way that reminded me of tiger's eye. And I just love the different components in here. Like I said, it is still very much outside my wheelhouse, but I am glad I grabbed it. It looks beautiful swatched. Here it is in just 2 coats with a glossy top coat. And as you can see, that base turns this sort of a deep raisin. It's got that purpley lean to it, which I think you can see as I tilt the nail around, but you can absolutely see all of those flakes as well. And then that magnetic pull kind of has this duochrome-ness to it, where you can see that more orange, bronze, and then a more golden color there at the other line. So yeah, that should be fairly unique to my collection. A beautiful one for fall. So that first one from Little Box of Horror for March was Little Wolf to Queen. The last polish of the haul is from Sassy Cat's Lacquer, and this is pure Moonlight. This is another instance where I was really pushing my boundaries and putting things in my cart that were pretty much outside my norm as far as colors. But look at how interesting this one is in the bottle. So this is another magnetic, and the magnetic pull is that red and purple to orange flash that you're seeing. And the base of this is really unusual. It is this sort of a brown leaning deep honey mustard, which again is very unusual to my collection. It is in a color family all of its own. As I often say, yellows just aren't really my favorites, but this was so far outside of just a plain yellow that it intrigued me. And I am glad that I grabbed it. Now, it doesn't have any flakes or anything, but here it is in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. And as you can see, it turns to this very interesting, grungy, muted, orange-leaning honey mustard. It's very unusual, and I love the magnetic pull in here. You can see purples and pinks, a little bit of orange there as I tilt the nail. This is another one where, because it is a more simplistic recipe, if you will, it doesn't have the addition of flakies or a secondary shimmer particle. You could play around with this quite a lot and layer different flakes over top of it to create completely different looks, or even sandwich them in between the coats, since this one is a 3-coater, to amplify some interest in between the layers. But again, another that is very much outside my wheelhouse, but I am excited to try that one. So that one was Sassy Cat's Lacquer Pure Moonlight. And then the last item that I got is another acetone additive from Ribbit's Stickets. This one is scented in Moonlight Hunt. And again, I'm not sure of the scent notes because I don't think they are on the bottle. But this is another one that has some very unusual scent notes to it. I'm almost smelling like a eucalyptus, which might be in there. I'm not sure though. Either that or it's like menthol. Very interesting though. Like I said, I use acetone additive all the time, so I will definitely get some good use out of this one. But that was Ribbit's Stickets acetone additive in Moonlight Hunt. So there we have it. That was a little cluster of hauls that I got over the last couple of months. Again, those have been sitting, waiting for me to open and share them for quite some time. Let me know which ones were your favorites down below. I would have to say for myself, if I had to pick, I was going to say a top 3, but I might have to do a top 4. The Cuticula, Wildflower, Plus Life Lacquer, and the Lemming Lacquer Little Wolf to Queen would have to be my top 4. But I love all of them. I'm really happy with each and every one. None of them were a disappointment, and I don't think any of them fall into the regret category. If I had to talk myself out of one of them, I would say I probably would talk myself out of the Lemming Lacquer, even though it is a purple, that second or the first Lemming Lacquer that I unboxed, Crystal Magic, just because I do feel like it's possible that as a purple lover, I might have a sheer jelly formula with that tone of purple and those flakes or some form of flakes. So I would say if I had to pick, that would probably be one, but it definitely wasn't a disappointment. It's a beautiful polish. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you had a good time. If you're new, think about hitting that little subscribe button down below. That way you don't miss out on any of my new videos. I am still currently working my way back to getting some form of a schedule. So I would also suggest hitting that little bell notification. That way you get notified the minute I post a new video. So as always, thanks again for watching, and I will see you in that next one.